The story of magical lessons worth 30 ounces of gold. Once upon a time, there was couple, wife and husband. One day, the man who is the husband, he liked learning, and he took 30 ounces of gold from his wife and left to find a good teachers. He departed from one province to another. Then he heard that there was a magical master who was very famous of magic teaching. Then the man decided to see that magical master. However, when he met a few of the master, he still did not like all of them. The man continued to find another master. Suddenly, the man continued going for a long distance, and he met an old man. The old man asked the man that, "Where are you going and walking alone like this? What are you looking for?" The man then replied, "Oh, my grandpa, I came here because I heard that there was a good magical master here. So I tried my best to come down over here, and I met you by chance in here. By the way, do you know any magical lessons? And could you share a few lessons for me, please?" The old man replied that, "I had 3 magical lessons, cost you 30 ounces of gold. If you can cling to it, you will become rich, and whatever you do, you will get successful. If you have any emergency, you can use this magical lesson. It is very effective." When the man heard that it is effective, he asked the old man to tell him to speak out for him to listen. The old man started speak out the words ruffled hands, full surface, sleep at night, do not talk to woman. When getting hungry, do not eat early. After the man listened to old man, he liked it and gave the old man 30 ounces of gold and memorized the 3 lessons that the old man gave him. He memorized it very well. As for the old man, he said, "If the grandson can carry out these that I gave to you, I will give you 4 free." Then the man said goodbye to the old man and returned home. On the way to home, the man's mouth kept memorizing the 3 magical lessons very well. After a long distance of walking, the man had met a merchant ship. The man asked for a ship to come along with to home. The ship's captain agreed to allow him to come on board. From the time the man got on the ship, he always memorized the 3 magical lessons. He made himself very busy and helped to wash, maintain, and repair the ship as his own. The captain thought to himself, "This man, since he came down from my ship, he always works hard and works like his own belongings." From that day, the captain felt like the man and let the man to prepare food and water for him to eat every day. The man was not lazy. He worked hard on the ship like any other servants. The captain thought to himself, "When I get home, I will give some properties to this man to earn a living." When the ship arrived at the center of a district, they saw a temple which was full of food and wine for the giants to eat. When the shipmen arrived at the temple, they boarded the ship and went to check, and there have no one over there. And then they started eating all food and drank wine until getting drunk and sleep inside the temple together. Unless the man, his mouth kept memorizing ruffled hands, full surface, sleep at night, do not talk to woman. When getting hungry, do not eat early. The man started thinking, there is a reason why these foods are well prepared and put it here, and now all the people have eaten, and they will be getting something wrong. After the man was already thinking, he was afraid to eat and started climbing up the beams of the temple and wait to see what will be happen next. When the giant arrived at noon, he was very angry and said, "Who dares to eat all this food?" Suddenly, the giant then used a stick to beat the sleeping persons to death, and the stick returned to the giant. The giant continued breaking the necks of those people and ate them all. Meanwhile, the giant started looking around him for others. The man sees giant. He was very scared, but his mouth still can memorize 3 magical lessons. He thought himself that if I shout, lest the giant hear me, and it will eat me again. After thinking, the man started shouting and jumping down from the beam. Suddenly, the giant was very scared and ran away from the stick and disappeared. The man picked up giant's stick and returned to his hometown and left the captain at the temple. When the man arrived home at night, the man hid his giant stick under the stairs and put the rock over the stick, and then he went upstairs to sleep. The wife of the man had asked him, and he told his wife that you wait until the morning, I'll tell you. After the husband was not at home, his wife has cheated him by having boyfriend at night. The cheating man has come to listen under the house because he wanted to know what the husband will talk about. So, the cheating man asked the man's wife to ask her husband. The cheating man thought himself, that is why her husband always said wait until the morning, he can talk. Then the wife continued pretending to love the husband and is always hugging the husband. The husband was unable to resist with his wife and then said, if I talk with you, I will be wrong with my magical master, as he told me that don't talk with woman at night. Now I was totally wrong with my master. The wife continued asking the husband, when you went out, what did you get? The husband replied, I got only 3 magical lessons and came back. When I arrived in the middle of way, I got a giant stick. The wife continued asking, now where did you keep it? I want to see it. The husband replied, I kept it under stairs and covered with the rock. Then the cheating man heard the story, and he quickly went down to that stairs and picked up that stick and left away. Early in the morning, the husband woke up and went down to find the stick. He reminded his wife that I already told you, but you don't believe me. Now I was wrong with my master. You always insisted me until I told you the truth. Now, someone had come and stole the stick away. The wife heard and knew that cheating boyfriend stole it and kept quiet. She went to cook food for her husband. The husband took the string and not the rock, and bring the rock covered the stick to the district chief for complaining, and made judgment for him. The district chief does not know what the trial will be like because the rock does not know how to talk. Then the staff of the court started insulting and bullying the man, that it is so stupid. Since from the time of our ancestors, we have never heard that about that they threatened and chased him away. The man kept dragging the rock to sue from the district chief to the king of death, the officials of all ministries, and they always chased him away. They said that he was very crazy man, and they did not allow him to enter. The man continued taking the rock to complain to the king. The king asked the man everything. The king talked to all advisors and said, I think what the man said is true. If there is a canal, there is water, and there is rubbish, there is a dog come to piss on. All of you do not think that he is full. After that the king told the man that you go home whenever I ask them to invite you, and you have to come. The man said goodbye to the king and left to home. After the man left, the king ordered the people and beautiful maids to go out and dance for 3 days and 3 nights. The dance will allow all people to watch freely with no restraint. The king also asked to have a play show. At that time, almost all the people came in to see the show. The king then entered the palace and chose a special, and unique bottle of good fragrance oil that nobody ever had before but the king. The king then asked his bodyguard and bring the oil and gave to the man by telling the man that His Majesty ordered me to give this oil bottle to your wife to apply on, and then you must stay home and let your wife went to see the show only. After the bodyguard told the man, and they also left the man, when the man received a bottle of oil, he took the oil and gave to his wife and told her that your Majesty the King, the Lord of Life, was so kind, and he gave this oil to you for apply on the skin, and then he told us that we can go to watch the dance and the show. Unfortunately, I was very headache and cannot go with you. You go alone. When the wife heard that her husband let her go to see the show lonely, and he also gave her the special oil to her, the wife was very happy, and she did not know that this is a deceitful plan. The wife also took the special oil and gave to her cheating boyfriend to apply on. They both went happily to see the show together and stood side by side of each other. For a little while, the king smelt the incense, and he whispered to the bodyguard that you go to smell the oil of the crowded who came to see the show. When you find the smell that I told you, you must bring them to see me right away. Do you understand? When the bodyguard said goodbye to the king and left him, the bodyguard went to the crowd and smelled one by one, and there are no smell on them at all. Only two people who had the oral smell are the wife and her cheating boyfriend. The bodyguard then brings them to see the king. The king ordered to stop dancing show. The king asked the bodyguard to bring the man to come to see him. The king asked the man, "Is she your wife?" The man replied, "Yes, she is, sir." The king ordered the bodyguard to take the cheating man, and the woman punished them by chaining them. The man, husband, said apologies to the king. The man then gave the house and his wife to the cheating man without anger. The wife and the cheating man were so happy. The man also gave the king his magic stick and returned. The king then stopped the man and refused accepting and said to the man, "Your magic stick is so expensive. In return, I will open the door of warehouse of gold and silver and let you take it for whatever amount you prefer." The man opened the warehouse and saw a knife, and then he took it as well as small amount of gold and silver and said goodbye and left out the king. All the advisors and bodyguard looked down the man and said he was a crazy. "Why do you take the knife? Is it eatable?" Since then, the man traveled from his kingdom to another kingdom. Sometimes at day the king of that kingdom said to a millionaire, "Tomorrow morning he will go into the woods," and he ordered to that millionaire to make a beautiful cart, to carve it nicely, and to finish it tomorrow morning. If that millionaire man cannot finish making it, he will be punished to death. Then the millionaire man knew himself that he cannot finish the cart on time, and he stopped making the cart, but in replacement, he made a coffin. The man suddenly met the millionaire man who was doing ceremony. The man asked the people at that place that what is the matter? Why are they celebrating with the coffin? This is a reason why the millionaire man knew himself that he will lose his life. So he made coffin and made this festival ceremony in replacement. The man, when heard the people told him like that, and he said, "What is the poor? Just give me the meals and I will finish it by tomorrow morning." When the millionaire man heard the man said like that, he then was very glad and asked the maid to prepare food for the man. After the man finished eating, the millionaire man gave the man the wood and material to make cart. The man started doing cart with his small knife that he had with him. After the man finished the cart as requested by the king and gave it to the king early in the morning. When the king saw the cart looking beautiful as he wished, he was very glad and asked the advisors and bodyguard entered the woods for visiting. While the millionaire man was free from death, he thought himself that this man was really grateful in my life, so I must give him something to pay for it. I have only one my daughter, and she's time to get married. I have to give her to marry him. After that the millionaire made decision and let the man marry with his daughter from that day. After the wedding ceremony day, before taking a bed, the man tested his wife by pretending to be drunk and sleepy. When it was in a late night, he pretended to vomit on his wife's shirt. After the daughter of the millionaire man saw it with dirty, she was very angry and yelled loudly to her father that, "Dad, why do you marry me with such drunk man? Now my cloth was getting so dirty and ugly, I cannot stand for it." When the millionaire man heard his daughter screamed like that, he said to her, "Never mind. Go to bed, don't talk, because your husband is getting drunk and he was very grateful for me, too." Whatever her father told her, she still complained that if you let me marry with dog or cat is much better than the drunk man, and I cannot stand for it. In the morning, the man woke up and went to the millionaire man to return the daughter to the millionaire man, and the man said, "Sorry sir, I cannot accept your daughter, and I also did not touch her." Even though the millionaire asking apologized to the man for his daughter, the man did not accept. The man then said goodbye to the millionaire and left, and he took only his knife with him. When the king came back from visiting the forest and could not meet the man, he was very regret. He then asked all the advisors and bodyguards, wrote letter and sent to all the places and still did not get any information from the man. The king kept quiet. the man after leaving from the millionaire and continued to another kingdom. The king of that kingdom asked his advisor and bodyguard to guard him every night at his bed. The king started going out and killed many people. At the same time, the man arrived, and it was turn Mr. Chao Fa also guarded the king at that night. The king will also had planned to kill Mr. Chao Fa. Mr. Chao knew himself that he would die and started preparing funeral ceremony in advance. The man when arrived nearby the funeral place and saw the family members cried, and then he asked, "What is the matter with your family? Why do you prepare funeral?" The family member said to the man, "It is time of Mr. Chao Fa's turn, and he will go to guard the king tonight, and it's true that the king will kill him." The man when heard the problem and said, "I just needed the food to eat, and I will go to replace him for the king to kill." When the family members were so happy and prepared food for the man to eat, the family member had bring the information about the man, and they went immediately to tell Mr. Chao Fa. When Mr. Chao Fa knew, and he quickly asked to invite the man to see him. Mr. Chao Fa was happy and talked to the man that no problem at all. "If you were killed, I will prepare the funeral for your death." The man accepted the request of Mr. Chao Fa. The man asked Mr. Chao Fa to give him the uniforms to wear and then left to guard the king's bed with his knife. When the man arrived the place, he did not sleep until the king came out, and he will kill the king. In the middle of the night, they opened the door and came out with his sharpened knife and ready to kill the man. The man when saw the king came nearby, the man quickly arrested the king, and he took his knife and chopped on the king a few knife. The man asked who was that, and he continued saying, "The king asked me to guard his bed's place tonight." And then he continued taking the knife and continued copying to the king. The king then was so scared and shouted loudly that, "It is me. Please stop it. I am the king." The man replied, "No, I don't believe you. The king never come at this night time. The king asked me to guard the palace tonight." After talking each other, the man knew the reality, and then the man kneeled to the king and said sorry to the king. The king asked the man, "Where do you live?" The man replied, "I stayed at the house of with Mr. Chao Fa." The king knew and smiled, and he left the man. In the morning, the man came with the knife and went down to the house of Mr. Chao Fa. They all wondered why that man was not killed. The man explained the truth and said to Mr. Chao Fa and family that the current king was not fierce. He just wanted to test and find the wise man to help him solve problems in the royal palace. So, he made a plan and asked them to guard the palace. But those who came to guard, they all got sleeping. Then the king killed all those men. He said, if the enemies came to kill him, what's happened to him next? When the man explained and told everything to Mr. Chao Fa and family members, they all clearly understood. Mr. Chao Fa had one daughter, and he married the man with his daughter, because he thought that this man was grateful to him. In the morning, the king asked to invite the man to him and promoted him as one of King's personal advisors in the palace. At the end, when the king became old, and he had no any son to replace him, and then he married the man with his only one daughter. The man was crowned by the king and controlled all king's properties from that day. The moral of the life is that the true words never die. Thanks for watching and following my channel. See you for next video. Stay blessed.